I welcome you to my channel. Subscribe and listen to my new stories every day. The downtown hum melds into the clinking of fine china and the low murmur of a restaurant brimming with the city's elite. Marco steps into La Serrata, his heart set on a hopeful evening that promises to repair the growing fissures in his marriage. His wife, Jenna, had claimed another late meeting, but hope whispered that perhaps she'd surprise him here, their favorite Friday night haunt. He pauses to scan the dimly lit expanse, his eyes adjusting to the soft, golden glow of ornate chandeliers. Each table, a vignette of city life, there's laughter, there are intimate conversations, there are deals being made. His gaze freezes, a laugh, unmistakable and piercing in its familiarity, slices through the ambient noise. There, 2 tables away under the pretense of privacy, Jenna sits, radiant and utterly captivated. But not by anything Marco could have provided. Across from her, a man, his features obscured by a strategically placed bouquet, holds Jenna's hand, his thumb caressing her skin in a painfully familiar way. The maitre d' notices Marco's stiff posture. "May I help you, sir?" Marco nods, barely registering the question. "A table for 1, please." Away from the center. As Marco follows the host, his path forces him to pass Jenna's table. He braces himself, his heart pounding in his ears, his hands clenched in his coat pockets. Jenna's laughter rings out again, clear and carefree. The sound, once the melody of his happiest moments, now a knell of their demise. He slips into his chair, his back to Jenna, and orders a glass of their once favorite wine. The irony isn't lost on him. From here, he can hear snippets of their conversation, punctuated by Jenna's laughter and the unknown man's lower, confident responses. Marco's mind races as the realization fully settles like sediment in his soul. Not a client. Not a meeting. But an affair. The fragments of trust and commitment crumble in his chest, replaced by a cold, seething anger. He pulls out his phone, his fingers shaky as he types a message. "Need to meet. Urgent. Tonight. I found out about Jenna." The reply is swift, a simple, "On my way." As he waits, Marco plots. His initial devastation morphs into a meticulous resolve. Jenna had chosen her path, weaving lies and deceit into the fabric of their marriage. He, in turn, would cut each thread, unraveling her life as systematically as she had dismantled theirs. Divorce, of course, but each step would be calculated to ensure she felt the full weight of her betrayal. When his contact arrives, they don't exchange pleasantries. "I want everything," Marco begins, his voice low and steady. "Photos, texts, calls. Whatever it takes to expose her lies." The man across from him nods, the contours of his face hardening in the dim light. "Consider it done." As Marco leaves the restaurant, he doesn't look back. The night air is cool against his flushed cheeks, a stark contrast to the fire burning in his chest. Tonight marks the end of his old life and the beginning of her downfall. He steps into the shadows, a man transformed by betrayal, his heart hardened, his mission clear. Marco stands by his apartment window, the city sprawling before him, a tapestry of light and shadow. His phone buzzes, a beacon in the dark room. The screen lights up with a message from his contact, Dave. "Got something. Meet tomorrow." First thing, Marco types back, the glow from his phone casting sharp angles across his face. As dawn breaks, Marco finds himself in a nondescript coffee shop, the aroma of roasted beans mingling with the undercurrent of city life waking up. Dave slides into the booth opposite him, a manila envelope in hand. Here's the initial scoop. "More than just casual, Marco. It's deep," Dave says, sliding the envelope across the table. Marco's fingers tremble slightly as he opens it. Inside, photographs spill out, Jenna laughing in a park, her hand in the man's. Text message transcripts bubble with endearments and plans for future rendezvous. Each piece, a betrayal. Each word, a shard of their shattered vows. He clenches his jaw. I need names. Every single person who covers for her. Friends, colleagues. I want to know how deep this goes. Dave nods, sipping his coffee. I'll dig deeper. What's the end game, Marco? Pain. Humiliation. I want her to feel this. Marco taps his chest, every day. Exiting the coffee shop, Marco's phone rings. It's Jenna. He hesitates, then answers, his voice neutral. Hello. Hey, love. Working late again tonight. Don't wait up, Jenna says, her voice light, oblivious. Marco grits his teeth, his grip tightening on the phone. Of course. Take care of yourself. After hanging up, he makes a series of calls. First, to a lawyer to initiate divorce proceedings, ensuring Jenna would be blindsided. Then, to mutual friends, sowing seeds of doubt about Jenna's fidelity and stability, framing his story as a victim reclaiming his life. As the sun sets, Marco's plot begins to take shape. He meets with an influential blogger friend under the guise of seeking advice, subtly weaving Jenna's indiscretions into the conversation, knowing well the power of gossip spread. That night, Marco doesn't sleep. Instead, he scours through more evidence Dave sends over, emails and video clips. Each one cements Jenna's fate, each one fuels Marco's resolve. The chapter closes on Marco, a silhouette against the city lights, his face set, his planning meticulous. Jenna's world, unbeknownst to her, is narrowing, tightening like a noose. And Marco, with cold precision, pulls the strings. The storm he gathers promises to be relentless, and in his heart, the need for retribution grows, a dark and twisting vine. Marco's eyes flicker open to the dull glow of early morning. He's been sleeping less and less, his mind racing through endless scenarios of confrontation and downfall. Today, he steps up the game. He reaches for his phone, the first of many calls already queued up in his mind. His first call is to a private investigator, Tom, an old college buddy now adept at digging up dirt. Tom, I need you on this. Full background on the man. I want to know everything by tonight. Consider it done, Marco. I'll be discreet, Tom assures him, his voice steady and professional. Next, Marco meets with his lawyer, Mr. Adler, in a stark office lined with law books and the scent of leather. The lawyer reviews the divorce papers across the polished mahogany desk. All set, Marco. Once she's served, it'll be a quick process given the evidence you have, Mr. Adler states, tapping the stack of papers. Make it public. I want her served at her office, Marco instructs, his voice devoid of any warmth. Late afternoon finds Marco in a tech shop, buying the latest surveillance equipment. He's not leaving anything to chance. Cameras for the apartment, trackers for the cars. If Jenna thinks she can outsmart him, she's gravely mistaken. As the sky darkens, Marco sets up his new tools around the apartment, his hands skilled and swift. He tests each camera, each feed flickering to life on his laptop screen. His phone buzzes. It's Tom. Got something. The guy, Andrew, recently divorced, no kids, but here's the kicker, he's got debts, Marco. Lots of them. Gambling it seems. Perfect. Keep on it. Anything else you can find, Marco responds, a grim satisfaction settling in his stomach. Night envelopes the city as Marco drives to Jenna's favorite restaurant, where she's supposed to meet Andrew for dinner. He parks across the street, his car shrouded in shadows. With his camera ready, he watches as Jenna arrives, dressed to the nines, a stark contrast to her usual self with him. Minutes later, Andrew joins her. Marco captures everything, the affectionate greetings, their close proximity, the laughter that once belonged to him. The flash of his camera goes unnoticed, drowned out by the city's cacophony. Each click a countdown to Jenna's unraveling. Post-dinner, Marco follows them to a chic art gallery. Inside, amidst the chatter of the cultured elite, he blends in, his camera lens never straying from Jenna and Andrew. The pictures he takes are damning, unequivocally intimate. Later, alone in his car, Marco sends the photos to his lawyer and his contact in the media. Release these tomorrow. First thing, he instructs, his heart a mix of triumph and a hollow victory. As he drives home, the streetlights blur past, each mile taking him further from the man he was and closer to the architect of Jenna's demise. The net closes tighter, woven by his hands, and in the darkness, Marco's resolve hardens. Jenna's deceit will come full circle, and he will be there to witness her fall from grace. The morning air is crisp as Marco stands outside the glass facade of Jenna's office building, the final act of his meticulous plan ready to unfold. He checks his watch, it's almost time. Across the street, media vans are discreetly parked, their cameras pointed away, waiting for his signal. His phone vibrates, Mr. Adler confirming that the process server is in position. Ready when you are, the message reads. Marco doesn't hesitate. Now, he texts back, his fingers steady, his heart an icy void. Minutes later, Jenna emerges from the revolving doors, laughing into her phone. She stops abruptly as a man approaches her with a stack of documents. Jenna Holloway, he asks formally. Yes. Her confusion morphs into horror as the man hands her the papers. You are served. Cameras flash from across the street, capturing every nuance of her crumbling demeanor. Jenna's eyes scan the crowd, locking onto Marco's cold gaze. Her phone slips from her hand, clattering on the concrete. Why? She gasps, her voice barely audible over the clamor of the emerging reporters. Marco steps forward, his voice loud and clear, because you chose betrayal, Jenna. Now the world will see you as you truly are. As Jenna is swarmed by questions, Marco turns away, ignoring her cries. His steps are measured, his mission accomplished, but his victory feels hollow. Revenge has not brought peace, only a deeper darkness. Back at his apartment, Marco begins packing his belongings. His phone rings incessantly, media requests, friends, family, but he ignores them all. His focus is singular: disappear, start anew, far from the ruins of his past life. The evening finds Marco at the airport, a one-way ticket in hand. As he waits to board, his phone buzzes one last time. It's Tom, the investigator. Marco, found something you should see. It's about the guy, Andrew. Marco pauses, curiosity piqued despite himself. What is it? He was manipulated into it. Someone paid him to seduce Jenna. It was all a setup, Marco. The words hit Marco like a physical blow. What? Who would? Her business rival. Wanted to destabilize her, take over her company. It was never a real affair. The revelation shatters the last of Marco's resolve. His plot, his revenge, based on a lie, a manipulation of circumstances far beyond a simple affair. Jenna, once the love of his life, was as much a victim as he was. He boards his flight, the weight of his actions crushing him. As the plane takes off, Marco looks down at the fading city lights, a world he's leaving behind. His future is uncertain, haunted by the echoes of his deeds. Jenna, standing amidst the chaos he had created, realizes the true extent of her loss, not just her marriage, but her reputation, her peace. Betrayed by many, her path forward is unclear, but one thing is certain: Marco and Jenna, forever altered by deception and revenge, will never cross paths again. In the sky, Marco contemplates the ruins of his vengeance. The cost of his ruthlessness, a life, a love, irreparably broken. As the darkness outside mirrors the one within, Marco vows to seek redemption, though he knows some actions can never be undone.